For this video, I will be going over how to assess flexibility. Note that for every assessment shown, each one should be performed twice. Remember that before performing the test, make sure to begin with a 5 to 10 minute aerobic warm-up. This test focuses on assessing hamstring and lower back flexibility. Start by removing shoes and place feet flat against the box while sitting on the floor. Knees should not be bent at any point during the test. Reach forward with your hands overlapping one another, and make sure to keep hands parallel and do not lead with one hand. Exhale when reaching forward with head lowered between the arms, and hold the position for 2 seconds. Remember to keep fingertips in contact with the measuring device of the box while performing the test. The furthest point that is reached with the fingertips is the score. The test is scored in centimeters. Remember to repeat the assessment for a second time. Once both assessments have been completed, the best of the two scores will be used. Note, the norms presented in the following table represent a sit and reach box where the 26 centimeter mark is a 0 point. For a sit and reach box that has a 23 centimeter mark as a 0 point, 3 centimeters must be subtracted from each value in the table. According to the fitness categories for trunk forward flexion using a sit and reach box in centimeters by age and sex, I fall into the fair category. Looking at the column for 20 to 29-year-old males, I subtracted 3 centimeters from my score of 28 to give me a score of 25 centimeters. This test focuses on assessing hamstring and lower back flexibility. Perform a 5 to 10 minute aerobic warm-up before starting the test. A yardstick is positioned on the floor with a piece of tape placed on the 15-inch mark. While sitting on the floor with your shoes removed, place the heels of the feet on the edge of the tape 10 to 12 inches apart. The yardstick will be between the extended legs. Reach forward with your hands overlapping one another. Make sure to keep your hands parallel and do not lead with one hand. Exhale when reaching forward with head lowered between the arms, and hold the position for 2 seconds. The knees should not be bent at any point during the test. Remember that your fingers must come in contact with the yardstick when performing the test. The furthest point that is reached with the fingertips is the score. The test is scored in inches. Remember to repeat the assessment. Once both assessments have been completed, the best of the two scores will be used. According to the fitness categories for the YMCA sit and reach test in inches by age and sex, I fall into the average category, being a 26-year-old male with a score of 16 inches. This test is designed for older populations that may have functional problems and assesses lower body hamstring flexibility. Begin by placing a chair 17 inches in height up against a wall for stability. While sitting at the edge of the seat, extend the leg being tested in front of the hip. The ankle should be dorsiflexed at 90 degrees, while the untested leg should remain flat on the floor. Shoes do not have to be removed for this assessment. Reach forward in the direction of the tested leg with hands overlapping one another. One hand should not lead. The head should be aligned with the spine, not lowered in between the arms. The position must be held for 2 seconds. Remember to exhale when reaching forward. An assistant is needed to hold a ruler parallel with the extended leg and to record the score. Switch to the other leg and repeat the test. Each leg will be tested twice. Remember to complete a 5 to 10 minute aerobic warm-up prior to test. The test is scored in inches. A positive score is recorded when the reach extends further than the toes. A score of 0 is recorded if the reach touches the toes. A negative score is recorded when the reach comes up short of the toes. The Thomas test assesses hip flexor flexibility. While in the supine position on the floor, bring one leg to the chest. Hip flexors are classified as flexible if the straight leg remains in contact with the floor or mat. If the straight leg elevates, the hip flexors are classified as inflexible. Both legs are tested, and a second person is needed to assist with the assessment. Remember to perform 5 to 10 minutes of aerobic warm-up prior to the test. Remember to hold the position for at least 2 seconds. Based on my results, both my left and right leg hip flexors are flexible.